Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and I get asked a lot about animated movies, my favorite animated movies, my favorite Disney movies. So today I am here with my first ever tier list ranking all of my favorite Walt Disney Studios animated films. So pop that tape in, I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so my favorite Disney films, so animated films. So first, some ground rules. There it is. It's got to be animated feature films. I'm not doing shorts. I'm not doing anything from Pixar, nothing from any kind of Touchstone, nothing that Disney might have purchased and brought in from Fox, anything else. This is Walt Disney Studios films. I'm going to do them on releases through like the year 2021. So if it's just come out in the past like year or so, couple years, it's not going to be on here. So we're talking about like, you know, everything from old classics like Peter Pan to things like Tangled and all the way up to Encanto and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is a tier ranking system. So I'm not just going to rank them like, you know, 50 to number one. What I'm going to do is a tier system. And on my tiers, let me show you this. I'm going to have everything from my all-time favorite film to what I consider to be the Mount Rushmore. So your four like icon films are four big-time films that are on the Mount Rushmore, sort of set above even the icons. So then films that I consider icon status. Then those that are almost icons. Then the ones that I consider underrated, and the ones that I consider overhyped. And then there'll be some that maybe I haven't seen, and then some that quite honestly I don't even think about, and I kind of forget they're out there and forget they exist. So here we go. We're not going to waste a lot of time on talking about all this. We're going to jump right to it. You see I got the films down here by icons, and we're just going to start grabbing them at random. And Dinosaur. Honestly, that one is going in, forget that it exists. I believe I did see this. Honestly, I can't remember. So it could really go into the haven't seen or I forgot they exist. My kids are right at teenagers now. So a lot of stuff I watched also with them that came out later. It's just one that I don't particularly remember seeing, but I'm pretty sure I've seen, so it's going in the I forget they exist list. All right, grabbing another one at random. We will go with Lilo and Stitch. And for me, I'm going to take some heat here, but this one's going in the overhyped category. Like, I mean, Stitch is fun, I guess. He's a fun character to do a meet and greet with. It's just not one that I ever got into that much. So for me, and I know a lot of people feel differently, and this is my list. This is my list. You know, it's okay to feel differently or like different ones. Totally cool. Whatever you like, good. This is just, people want to know what my thoughts on these movies are. So I'm just going to be honest with you about it. All right, so next up on the list, let's grab something at random here. Let's go Three Caballeros. Three Caballeros, I am going to put in, not that, nope. I'm going to put into, it could go underrated or almost icon. I'm going to put it in the underrated category because it is kind of iconic, but people forget about it. People are clamoring to, it was rethemed into a ride at, that was the Rivers of Mexico, in the Epcot Pavilion. It was rethemed to the Three Caballeros Grand Fiesta Tour. And now people are wanting to get rid of that to put in like Encanto or Coco or something. So it's just one of those that kind of, it's really right there at iconic status, but just kind of keeps getting pushed down and pushed down. So I'm going to say that it's kind of an icon that is underrated. All right, next up on my list is, look, let's just go with one, get one out of the way real quick. No, it's not Mount Rushmore, but Sleeping Beauty is an icon. If you get a castle built for you at Disneyland at the theme park, Sleeping Beauty, Aurora's castle, and then Maleficent herself is iconic. It is an icon. It is not on my Mount Rushmore of films, but it is iconic, no question. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go for one that I just have not seen, or that I completely don't remember ever seeing. And this one's probably going to surprise some of you, but Home on the Range, I have not seen. I just haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. And there's going to be a couple of those that will be surprising because I am a massive Disney and Disney theme park fan, Disney animated film fan, especially, like back in the day growing up and everything, being an 80s kid, and then the stuff coming into the 90s. Then let's grab another one. And some of these are going to hurt because, like Melody Time here, I forget that it exists. I mean, some of the older ones are some of those that are smaller that weren't like theatrical releases, that are like on the edge of, are they features? Are they not? I forget that it's there. That is going to be the same with Make Mine Music. I mean, did that even get a theatrical release? I'm not sure. So it's just not there for me. I kind of forget that it exists. Another one that's going to surprise you that I haven't seen, I have not seen Meet the Robinsons. I may have, but if I can't even remember seeing it like with my kids as they were growing up, it's going into the haven't seen list. And there you go with Meet the Robinsons. Now, here is an underrated one in my opinion, Black Cauldron. Black Cauldron, like, had problems even getting released, getting made, like getting finished. It was too dark, this and that and the other. There were some strikes against it, but it has a nice little good atmosphere factor. Let's say that, the Black Cauldron. So for me, it's a little bit underrated, and a lot of people may have it in the I forget it exists category or the haven't seen it category. The Rescuers Down Under, is that what that is? The Rescuers Down Under, I don't have my glasses on, is actually one that I have not seen. So it's got to go in the haven't seen category. The Emperor's New Groove. It could go into overhyped for me. It could go into I forget about it. It's gonna go in the overhyped list for no. You know what? I don't know that it's overhyped. So I'm gonna put it in the I forget that it exists. I just don't think about it till I see a clip from it. It doesn't stick in the forefront of my mind. So that's where it's gonna go on this list. And there's a couple really that probably need another category of I just don't care for it. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to add one more list and just say not my favorite. All right, now we have us a new tier, and not for me is probably a good tier, nice way to say it. Just movies that I don't care for, don't even really have an interest to see if I haven't seen them. So not that there's anything wrong with them, but everybody has different tastes. All right. Coming up, this is the Tales of Ichabod and Mr. Crane. That one could go in almost icon, or Ichabod and Mr. Toad, I'm sorry. That one could go in almost icon or underrated. I'm going to put it in an underrated. I mean, Mr. Toad gets kicked out. He gets evicted by Winnie the Pooh from his ride at Disney World. You've got the whole creep factor of that, little spooky, little vibey. It's going in underrated for me. We're going to move through these a little quicker. The Great Mouse Detective is another one that, I mean, to be honest, personally, I forget about it. I've seen it. I forget about it. It's okay. It's fine. Nothing wrong with any of these. They're not ones that I think of. And part of that might just be like my age range, you know, when the 80s and 90s, particularly like Disney movies came out. All right. Grabbing one that, oh boy, let's see. I think Snow White is an icon. And you're going to be like, whoa, it's not on the Mount Rushmore? No, because it's an iconic status. Snow White is just an icon. Everybody knows Snow White. It saved the Walt Disney Company. Snow White is an icon, and along that same lines, Cinderella. Cinderella is an icon, 100%. You got Cinderella's castle. She's an icon. These are iconic princesses. They could be on the Mount Rushmore. They could be a lot of people's all-time favorites, but they are unquestionably icons. Going in almost icon territory, I put Alice in Wonderland, and a lot of people could say, "Oh, that's iconic." What are you talking about? Alice in Wonderland is at least an icon. I think she's just a rung under. You can't put Alice in Wonderland on the same tier, in my opinion, as Snow White or Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty, in my opinion. So almost icon comes in with Alice in Wonderland. Okay, we're gonna start getting harder and harder and harder in a minute. Aristocrats. Again, this is another one I almost need a different tier for. Matter of fact, I may add yet another tier on here of, I'm going to, of enjoy but not icon. All right, I got my new tier of enjoyable but not iconic. I just noticed as I'm doing these, there's just so many different ones, and it's so hard. I mean, you know, I'm sitting here, and it's like you start looking at it, and you got Cinderella here, and you have these movies in front of you, and it's like, oh man, like where do I put that? It's so hard. But so okay, we've got us another one of enjoyable but not iconic, and I think that is where something like the Aristocrats falls in. Have fun with it. I don't think it's an icon of Disney, but it is a fun ride. I enjoy it. For another one that is one I haven't seen Chicken Little. I can't tell you anything about it, so it goes in the haven't seen list. And right along with that is Bolt. I have never seen Bolt. So there's a few there that I have not seen. Brother Bear is one that I forget exists. It could almost go enjoyable but not iconic, but I don't think it's quite to that level. I enjoyed it, but I kind of forget that it exists. Saludos Amigos is one that is also going in the I forget about them. I have seen it. I enjoyed it. That one could be enjoyable, but not iconic. But for me, I'm going to put it down there in I forget that it exists. It's an older one. But, you know, there you go. It starts to get harder and harder and harder as we go here, I've noticed. All right, I'm going to give you one for my Mount Rushmore, and we're going to start getting into that, and it's one that I have here, and that is Wreck-It Ralph coming in strong. I think now, if it could definitely go here. It could go in underrated, but it is not. For me, it is definitely underrated. It is on my Mount Rushmore. It is that good to me. I don't understand. Like Disney does not promote this. This is one of their own IPs. It made more money at the box office than Tiana's The Princess and the Frog, Turning Red, and Encanto combined. And yet we never hear about it. It has no ride. It barely has representation in the park. It reaches across generations because it goes from the old school animation to the newer school animation. It brings in video gaming and all kind old arcades at the same time. It's something for everyone. I don't understand why Disney doesn't nurture this IP more, but it is one of my favorite Disney films. All right, so Wreck-It Ralph, baby, coming in strong. Definitely underrated. Here is another one that is very, very, very underrated in my opinion, and to me should be much more iconic. I'm talking about Tangled. Tangled, I absolutely love Tangled. All it gets is a little section with a bathroom, but Rapunzel and Flynn Rider steals the show in this. This is thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyable. Needs more representation at the parks too. Just so much fun. All right. Another one that is going to surprise you that I'm trying to think of a way to say this. So I'm just going to say it. I think that Encanto is super overhyped. It flopped at the movie theater. It did not do well. It keeps getting pushed out into the Disney parks and with merchandise and rides and lands and shows and character meet and greets and all kinds of stuff. And none of the sales or views figures warrant that. I mean, it's totally fine if you like it or whatever. My daughter sings the song from it, but she doesn't want to watch the movie anymore. Like she saw it one time and that was enough for her. I just think it's a little bit overhyped. Nothing wrong with the movie. It's just, I think it gets a lot of credit that viewing and the money that it's brought in shows that it doesn't deserve. It's like it's kind of being forced to be better than it is, where you have movies like Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph that did great numbers or people are clamoring to see stuff from them and nothing happens with them. So it's very, very odd to me. All right. So now in the Mount Rushmore, should we go Mount Rushmore one more time or should we go, let's go to almost icons. And when I say almost icon, how about 101 Dalmatians? I mean, you have one of the most evil villains in the world, Cruella de Vil, for sure in that. But I just don't think, like, again, if Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty are the standard up there, I feel like that has to be one rung under them. And I think that is the same thing with The Fox and the Hound. It's a legendary Disney movie. It's almost iconic. It is an amazing movie. I absolutely love it. I think I probably have it sitting right here. Yep. I love it. It's sad too, though I'm a hound dog. It's a great movie. It's just not quite up there from an iconic status as those others that we mentioned. I think in that same category goes Lady and the Tramp. We are Siamese, if you please. And I mean, there's definitely iconic moments, and so it's almost there. It's right there. But again, if that's the standard, Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, can you put it on that level with it? But it's just right there, like a hair separating them. The Rescuers, enjoyable, but not iconic. Not iconic, at least not to me. And I think that you could probably do that same thing, enjoyable but not iconic, with Robin Hood. Fun, but just not there. Here is one that I'm going to put into underrated, and that's Fantasia. A lot of people pan it for being weird, but I mean, it was a chance. There was a chance taken on that movie, and it was hard to pull off, hard to do everything that happened. And then you have Mickey in his sorcerer outfit. My favorite version of Mickey, underrated. I love Fantasia. Uh, and then you get some that are not. It's like not overhyped, but again, like Wreck It Ralph is as much as I love the original, and it's on my Mount Rushmore. The second one's enjoyable. It's not iconic. It was like, oh, we saw how much success it had, so let's cram everything in it. You put all the Disney princesses in there. Uh, you get a melodramatic story. You kind of make Ralph a bad guy, and it just doesn't work the same for me. But it's still enjoyable. It's still enjoyable. Oh man, as I'm looking at these, it's getting harder and harder and harder. Um, Bambi, I think Bambi goes iconic. I think it's an icon. It's another one that almost killed the Walt Disney Studios, but then helped save it in the long run. Everything they went through to make it, studying for months and months, filming and studying animals, which led to some live action Academy Awards for Walt Disney with stuff that they filmed. So Bambi is an icon for me. Um, Almost iconic, Sword in the Stone. Again, not quite to those levels up there, but I mean, it belongs up at the top of the pantheon. You still have that at Disney World where you can go and try to pull the sword from the stone. I love that whole like Arthurian legend and everything. Absolutely love it. Oliver and Company, enjoyable but not iconic to me. Um, Hunchback of Notre Dame is one that I mean I forget it exists, and I mean I like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but I don't think about it. Doesn't pop into my mind, but it is an enjoyable film, so it could almost go in enjoyable, but I don't think it's close enough to iconic for me. For me, um, let's put the first one in the not for me category. Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna take heat for this. Uh, Frozen 2. I just it, and I it I mean almost there's a couple of these others that could be in the not for me section, but Frozen 2, I don't know. I mean, it kind of goes off track and does crazy stuff. I just didn't particularly care for it as a sequel. Um Another one that is in the not for me category, uh, Raya, the Last Dragon. I it didn't ring. It just didn't hit the mark for me. Uh, Trying not to be too negative here for too long, but one more that kind of belongs in the overhyped category for me is Mulan. I Mulan, I don't know, like it just doesn't find the mark for me. I guess I'm not the target audience for that, but man, it gets pushed out there like it is super duper super popular everywhere you go, and it just doesn't come in to me at as high a level as some of these others. So I feel like it's pushed maybe a little more than it's warranted. Um, Along that same lines, for me is Zootopia. Zootopia is painfully slow to me, and here we are about to get, I guess, Zootopia lands, or they're going to bring more Zootopia IPs into the park, and the movie didn't do that well, like overall. So I don't know where the push for that comes from. So to me, it's a little bit overhyped. Uh, Iconic icons, Dumbo. You got Bambi, you got Dumbo. Dumbo is another one, barely makes it over to be feature length long enough, but it is absolutely iconic. And I remember going to the park in like 1984, and my mom standing in line forever with my older brother because he had to ride Dumbo. And Dumbo is absolutely iconic. All right, let's give one more for Chase's Mount Rushmore. And on my Mount Rushmore, you are going to find the Lion King. Simba! I mean, this Hakuna Matata, come on, the music, the spectacle, everything about this movie, including the sad parts. It has a great villain. That's one thing that's hurt Disney in recent years is the villains are not good enough. The villains are not good enough. Your story is only going to be as good as your villains. And amazing villain in Scar in the original Lion King on my personal Mount Rushmore. Winnie the Pooh. You got a couple of versions of Winnie the Pooh here. But if you take the original Winnie the Pooh, I'm going to say that Winnie the Pooh is almost an icon. Now, Risha absolutely loves Eeyore. I like Eeyore. I love Winnie the Pooh. But if again, those others on that icon level are, if that's the standard of you're getting castles built after you and things like that, then you have to be considered an icon. You know what, though? It's real close because Winnie the Pooh has his own ride. You have character meet and greets. You know what? Winnie the Pooh's the first one to make the move, to make me change my mind. He goes into being an icon. In the words of A.A. Milne, get out of my role. Dill hole. That's a little French reference for you. He moves up. Winnie the Pooh, I talked myself into putting Winnie the Pooh as an icon. I mean, he was able to evict Mr. Toad from a ride. So, oh bother. Winnie the Pooh, I guess we'll just move on up. All right. Another one, jumping into the icon category for me, Peter Pan. I mean, Peter Pan is one of my all-time favorites. I love Captain Hook, is one of my favorite all-time villains. How can you not love it? Although you could argue that Peter Pan is kind of a villain. He's taking these kids and keeping them from growing up. So, interesting take there. If somebody wants to go that way with it. Peter Pan is definitely an icon. Another one that's definitely an icon, The Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid, now some are going to be like, that's not on your Mount Rushmore. No, but it is iconic. I mean, the Mount Rushmore is my personal taste. It's the same thing with my favorite of all time. So no, it's not in my Mount Rushmore, but it's right there. It is definitely iconic. Little Mermaid. Under the sea. Under the sea. Fun and fancy free with Mickey Mouse. I'm gonna be honest. Actually, that's one that I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen that. If I have, I was so little, I don't remember. Fantasia, 2000. I'm gonna put enjoyable, but not iconic. You just it's like a update, redo. Treasure Planet. It's gonna go into enjoyable, but not iconic for me too. Atlantis. I love that whole vibe and everything. I'm gonna put in enjoyable, but not iconic. Boy, we're getting down to it. Like this, I can't tell what Winnie the Pooh is. This is a sequel. So I'm gonna put this one in I haven't seen because I'm not sure I've seen that one. And then we are getting down to some hard ones here. I'm going to put Big Hero 6 in. Honestly, this one could fit in 3 different categories. I feel like at one hand, it's a little underrated. It's definitely enjoyable. It's not iconic. but it's also a little overhyped in some places. They're building the whole San Francisco uh, in um, in Disneyland in Disney California Adventure. It's going to go in overhyped for me, and I that kills me because I love Baymax and my kids love Baymax, but it like for the success it had or didn't have, it's kind of not. Um, it's too it's getting a little too much play to build a whole land for it when you have these others that aren't even represented really is seems like it's a little overhyped for me. And part of this, it has things to do with the parks because the parks and the movies tie together, so that plays into it. Another one that is going to surprise a lot of people because I really enjoy this movie. My daughter loves this movie, and we kind of sing songs from this movie all the time. But I think The Princess and the Frog is overhyped. Um, Again, like I said, Wreck It Ralph only came out just a couple years after, just like 2 years after, I think, for Princess and the Frog. And it made more money at the box office than Princess and the Frog, Turning Red, Encanto. I think there was one other like combined. And the two Wreck-It Ralph movies are over billions of dollars made at the box office. So, but Princess and the Frog gets all the attention. And while I really do enjoy Princess and the Frog, it is getting like just tons of push in all the parks. Of course, getting new rides. Splash Mountain's being rethemed to that. You're getting tons more character meet and greets. Talking about redoing whole areas of the park to reflect this movie, and like the numbers over time just don't bear that out. So for me, it's just a little too much push, a little bit overhyped. Um, there's going to be a surprise one in here too in a minute, I think, and I might as well go there right now because on my Mount Rushmore is Hercules. I taught ancient Greek history, and I love that mythology and everything. So Hercules, right up my alley. For me, it's my personal Mount Rushmore. Great villain again, Hades. Great villain, great villain. All right. One that I think is maybe a little bit underrated, Pocahontas. Like I thought Pocahontas could have definitely, like if they were going to retheme the ride Splash Mountain, I feel like Pocahontas would have been really good because isn't there that scene where they're going over a waterfall in like a canoe in that movie? Or am I imagining that? But like Paint with All the Colors of the Wind is an amazing song. I just think it's a really good movie, and it just kind of gets forgotten about a lot. Um, Enjoyable but not iconic. Tarzan, for sure. I mean, it's fun. It's Tarzan, but not iconic. Um, Here's one that's going to surprise you in the overhyped category. For me, man, this is going to hurt me to put this here because it's almost an icon. It really is an icon, but it's overhyped too. And man, it's hard. Pinocchio. Oops. Pinocchio. I love Pinocchio. Pinocchio has what could be arguably be called the like a werewolf transformation scene when he turns into a donkey. Um, and I enjoy Pinocchio, but like that I don't know. For me, it's like one like the whole thing with Pinocchio as a character and everything. You've got Pinocchio's village house in Disney World, and it's just I don't know. It doesn't have the same rewatchability to me. So I enjoy it. Maybe overhyped is not fair. It's enjoyable, but at the same time, he's almost an icon, or you could consider him iconic. So that one's very tough. But I hear people Pinocchio, Pinocchio, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to rush to watch Pinocchio a ton of times, even though I might have him over here somewhere. I had Lady in the Tramp sitting here too. Definitely almost icons. All right. We're getting tougher now. All right, we're gonna go back. we're going to go back to finish out my Mount Rushmore. And on my Mount Rushmore, my fourth spot on Mount Rushmore is Aladdin. If for nothing else, Robin Williams as the genie. I mean, you can argue that's iconic. I love Aladdin. Everything about it got a little bit of creep factor, a little bit of like the scary vibes to it, and the Cave of Wonders and all that kind of stuff. I love Aladdin. Absolutely love Aladdin. All right, we're down to the final four. The Jungle Book, man, I'm going to say the Jungle Book's a little underrated. I'm going to say it's underrated. You could argue it's almost iconic, but I'll tell you, I think it's the best live action remake that they've done as well, that Disney's done. But Baloo, the bear, I absolutely, I love it. It's got great songs in it, and I do love the Jungle Book. I feel like it doesn't quite get enough attention. Oh boy, we're down to three. Let's go with Frozen. Not underrated. Frozen. I can't do it. It's enjoyable, but it's not iconic. It's enjoyable, but it's not iconic, and it's also maybe a little bit overrated, overhyped. Um, I think it goes enjoyable. It's somewhere between enjoyable but not iconic, and overhyped but also almost iconic. Because while I do love it and it has some great songs, it's pretty good. The villain's horrible in the movie. There is no good villain. There is no good villain. When they teach you about writing stories, you got to have a good villain. It's not a good villain. It's got a ride there that's cool, but it took over one of my favorite rides, Maelstrom. Um, it's a good movie. I thoroughly enjoy it. But it doesn't belong in the same breath to me as like things like 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, Alice in the Wonderland. Definitely not like Winnie the Pooh or Snow White or Cinderella, Bambi. Doesn't belong. Little Mermaid, no way. Doesn't belong in that category. And Moana and Beauty and the Beast are left. So let's just go ahead and get this over with. My favorite, Chase's favorite all time, Beauty and the Beast. The Beast. Gaston is one of my favorite villains. You've got some horror elements to that, like gothic horror elements to that movie. Belle is my favorite. I love Belle. Strong, awesome, smart female character there. Absolutely love Belle. She is like you, and Gaston is a villain. I mean, I friggin' love Gaston. Everything about this movie is spot on, perfect for me. I love Beauty and the Beast. I get almost every incarnation of this movie on physical media that I can get. And I absolutely just thoroughly love Beauty and the Beast. I mean, absolutely love Beauty and the Beast. I would love for Epcot to have go ahead and get in the Paris Pavilion or the France Pavilion. They should get the same ride that they have in Tokyo Disney with the Beauty and the Beast. Oh my gosh, we definitely need that ride. Lion King, also my Mount Rushmore. Hercules on my Mount Rushmore. Little Mermaid, so close to being on my Mount Rushmore, but definitely iconic. Cinderella, definitely iconic. All of these, but Beauty and the Beast is my favorite. And that leaves one that's very tough for me, Moana. Because Moana, I mean, my daughter loved Moana so much, and she sings that song, the songs from that movie so much, and I love The Rock. Like, I love him. I love Dwayne Johnson. I think he's awesome, and has a lot of fun with stuff that he does. It's so tough. I can't give Moana iconic status yet. And it's definitely not underrated. So I'm going to give it the biggest compliment that I can give it. and say that it's almost iconic. It's almost iconic. And I think with a sequel coming and a live action, I think it eventually could push its way into icon. I absolutely love Moana. That one might be one of the most controversial on the list because I think it's right there. It's hard to say that it's on the level of Alice in Wonderland and stuff yet, but I think over time it will get there. I absolutely love the movie. My daughter's name is Lana. She used to sing it so much we'd call her Moana Lana. And I think it's right there and it has a chance. But that is my rankings of the Disney movies. I mean, what do you think? I know there's gonna be some controversial ones. There's some that could definitely fit into multiple categories, but it's just a fun list. There is no question for me though. Favorite all time is Beauty and the Beast. 100%. Anybody that knows me knows that answer very quick. I love Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is my son's favorite movie of Disney. Lion King is right up there. Hercules, Aladdin, those have to be on my Mount Rushmore. And then the icons are unquestionable. If you have rides and you have castles particularly built after you, you're an icon. There's definitely some underrated movies in there. Tangled is criminally underrated. Honestly, Wreck-It Ralph is criminally underrated, and both are criminally underrepresented in the parks. And there's some that I just haven't seen and some that I don't think about. And then there's a couple that I'm just like, I'll pass on those. But let me know. Let me know what you think of my tier list here. What is your favorite Disney animated movie of all time? Give me your top 3, give me your top 5, or give me your top 1. And let's talk about it. It's a lot of fun. I'm a big Disney animated fan. I'm a big theme parks fan, Disney and Universal. And I enjoy those things. It's a little bit different kind of video. I do all kinds of things here. And if you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. You can join at my Patreon down below. You can join right here on YouTube. You get all kinds of special access. Of course, your name and lights on here, special videos, special vlogs, all kinds of things, special live streams. Lots of stuff, but you don't have to do any of that to hang out here. Just like, subscribe, ring that bell, and help spread the word. I really do enjoy hanging out with everyone here. I have so much fun. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.